We all know it's important to set goals in life. But for Chris Duffin, he set himself a goal so grand that is far beyond the reach of many of us. But that's not necessarily true. Chris Duffin holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the heaviest deadlift. He lifted a little bit more than a ton for 2, almost 3 reps. But the way he did it was genius. He'd never actually trained to the deadlift by doing deadlifts. He actually trained to train himself. He actually prepared to prepare himself for the deadlift. Think of it as a marathon runner who trains for a marathon not by doing more marathons, but by doing drills and sprints and hitting the gym more often. That's exactly the mentality that he used, and he got to do it in 6 months. Here's how he did it. The first thing that Chris did is that he replaced the back squat for a different variation, namely the front squat, in order to be less taxing on his nervous system. To execute the perfect front squat, it is important to keep the bar as close as possible to the neck with your elbows as high as you can. You initiate the movement by having your feet placed about hip-width apart and your toes pointed slightly outwards, just a hair out. Then the first move is your hips back and down so that your hips and your knees are approximately 90 degrees or more. And then as you brace your entire core, you're going to come back up and repeat the movement. The second thing that Chris did was increase the frequency of his deadlifting, which he used to do only once every week or 2. He had to do it twice a week now, but since deadlifting is so exhausting and taxing to the body, what he did was did partials only. He lifted the bar off the floor using plates or blocks. Doing this, he eliminated the more mechanically disadvantaged portion of the deadlift, that is, lifting it from the floor. In order to do this, you need to really brace your abdomen. So take a deep breath in, hold, drive your hips back, grab the bar as if you're going to crush it, and push to the floor until your hips are wedged between your shoulders and the bar, and then repeat. In the third phase of Chris's training, he had to take out the front squats. That, in conjunction of the increased frequency of deadlifting, was just too much for his hips to handle. So what he did was he incorporated Anderson squats. The Anderson squat is more or less a partial back squat. You need to arrange the pins halfway down, right at the point where your hips are at 90 degrees. Place yourself under the bar, take a deep breath and brace your lower abdomen and push forcefully upwards into a standing position. Then lower it gently back into the pins and take a moment before you repeat. In his fourth phase, what Chris did was that he dropped all kinds of squats and focused entirely on deadlifting heavy twice a week. He did, however, add in horizontal pulls, specifically the bent over barbell row and the chest supported dumbbell row. In order to perform the bent over barbell row, you need to have a very straight back, anywhere from 15 degrees to 45 degrees bent over with your head aligned with your spine. Bring your elbows back as you bring the barbell up to your rib cage and then lower back. All this is controlled, both on the way up and the way down. For the chest supported dumbbell row, you need to find yourself an inclined bench and support yourself so that you don't slip anywhere, and then your arms are able to hang down all the way to full extension. With your dumbbells, pull so that your elbows are facing backwards all the way up and bring it back down in a nice controlled manner. In the final phase, Chris dropped everything and focused solely on the Sumo Deadlift. Now the main rules that you need to follow is always have your shoulders above the bar, not in front of the bar. And the second thing is to not hyperextend at the top of the movement. As long as you wedge your hips between your shoulders and the bar, that's as far up as you need to go. Chris Duffin is certainly one of a kind, but his motivation should not deter you from anything. If you do have a goal that seems beyond your reach, use his methodology that you can use on or off the gym floor by preparing to prepare for your goal.